Hey, Ron here from Military Images Magazine with a new episode of Life on the Civil War Research Trail. Today, I'm thinking about words, specifically terminology for photographs. How did the American public talk about photography during the war period? What words did they use to describe photography and to describe the various formats used during those 4 years of Civil War? Generally speaking, the two terms that were most popular, if you're just speaking about photographs, are maybe what you'd expect. Photography or photograph and pictures tend to describe all of the competing formats of the day. Those formats, and there's four of them, are ambrotypes, daguerreotypes, tintypes, and carte de visite. The three first formats, they're the hard plates, ambrotypes on glass, daguerreotypes on silver and copper, and tintypes on iron. Carte de visite, paper photography. Each of those had their own names and people referred to them by sometimes different terms. I'll take them in order of the way I just said them, starting with ambrotypes, those images on glass, those beautiful images on glass. They were known by Americans as ambrotypes. So there's no change there. What we call them today is what we called them back then. Daguerreotypes is a similar situation. We call them daguerreotypes today, and back then Americans called them daguerreotypes. And those daguerreotypes, those beautiful images on silver and copper, the original images that were discovered or founded as the first commercially successful form of photography dating to 1839, that really gripped the American public. So we called them daguerreotypes. Tintypes is a bit of a different situation. There you will not find, at least I was not able to find, a reference in any books, newspapers, or other documents where these images are called tintypes. They're really called melanotypes or ferrotypes, which are riffs on iron, right? The name iron, the materials from which they were made, the main material. So melanotypes and ferrotypes, if you said those terms, if we were magically back in the Civil War period and you used tintypes, I think people would look at you a little bit funny. But if you said melanotypes or ferrotypes, they go, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. The last one is carte de visite. This, of course, term refers to the French invention in 1854, coming over to the United States. We really didn't care much for the term carte de visite. We use it nowadays to talk about the wildly successful paper format, these paper prints from glass negatives. We use the French term, but back then we wouldn't have been using it in America. We would have called them card photographs. That's the name that we used, at least according to the research that I've done. Now, interestingly, as an primarily English speaking nation during that time period, you might have thought that the original English speaking nation, Great Britain, would have followed the card photograph idea or the card photograph label, but they didn't. In Britain, carte de visite appears to be the most popular term. So they opted for the French term, and maybe that's because right across the English Channel, their neighbor, France, is right there. But in America, far away in America, across the Atlantic, we didn't like it. We used card photograph. So let's go back to 1863. What do we call them? Ambrotypes, daguerreotypes, melanotypes or ferrotypes, and card photographs. So there you have it. Today's Life on the Research Trail. We'll see you soon with a new episode. Until then, take care.